Hi, everybody. My name is Honish. I am the former head loss mitigator for IndyMac Bank's HELOC division, and I'm not wired like the rest of you. I started in real estate and banking back in a long time ago. It's a 30-year career now doing real estate. It's been a very, very, very long time working in this one niche of real estate and banking. I started off as an asset manager. I went to work at another bank that was beneficial to California. And then I went to another bank as an asset manager and a property manager. I then became a real estate agent and a developer. But when that market turned just before 2000, I went back to work at IndyMac Bank and wound up ultimately in their home equity line of credit and started to do, at the end of the day, this is all you guys care about. I was one of the first banks to see HELOCs start to need negotiation and mitigation based on short sales. And I, along with B of A and a few other banks, are the ones that created the protocols and the guidelines for the reason why you guys all hate short sales and distressed properties in general. To understand distressed properties, I want to correct this for everybody who's on the call. At 31 days at 5 p.m., you're 30 days late and you are actively in default. You are actively in foreclosure. 61 days at 5 p.m., you're 60 days late. At 91 days at 5 p.m., you're 90 days late. Those are called three buckets in banking terminology. After the third bucket is missed, they do what's called a rolling 90, right? So you get a 90-day DQ and then another 90-day DQ. This will help you when you look at credit reports. At the 6-month marker, you send it out, depending on your state, for public posting. Some states, it's called a notice of default. In some states, it's called a lis pendens. Got it? From there, the next process is in approximately 3 to 6 months, depending on the bank and their process. It is not based on state guidelines. It's based on the individual banks and how they process their files. From there, you get whatever the procedure is, or it goes off to another group to start for posting of notice of sale or auction, depending on your state. And from there, it can take up to a year before the actual sale date or the auction date actually transpires. That is, in general, the way a bank handles a default property. In the normal market, pre-pandemic, there were approximately 400,000 people in advanced levels of foreclosure. Okay. That means anything after 6 months generally, or after a public posting. While I was working at IndyMac Bank, I was teaching these things from the bank out to the real estate market. And I did that until just before IndyMac went out of business. I then went out and started teaching real estate agents for 3 straight years in 2007. So from 2007 to 2010, I trained approximately 50,000 real estate agents. I was viewed over 1 million times, teaching people how to do short sales and understand distressed properties. In 2010, I started my own company, my very first one. I became an entrepreneur, much like all of you on this call. You are an entrepreneur. You are a self-starter. You are your own business. And that's where things started to change for me. The number one thing people want in any business, for any of you on the call, no matter what your business is, you want more clients. That's it. That's the desire of everybody. That's what I want from my company, Home Advocates. I want more agents, more investors, more homeowners, more clients, right? So in 2010, I made myself an expert in marketing. My college degrees are in marketing, business, and psychology. That's my college background. At no point did I think that I would take, all these years of experience of working at a bank and combined them with marketing, and that really had no bearing on the way we do marketing today, psychology, and certainly my business background. And I combined them into a marketing approach that is different from everything else on the market. I started in 2010 teaching that to people. In 2000, from there forward, over the next decade, I was named one of the top 100 marketers in America. I was named one of the most innovative marketers for 10 straight years. because I operated on an approach called permission-based marketing. I don't door knock, I don't cold call, I don't mail. I do marketing from pizza shops to landscapers to real estate agents back in those days. I wanted to learn everything there was to learn about marketing and what makes it tick. And how do I get the client to ask me to have a conversation? It works like a referral that way. That way they feel that they're involved in their selection process. The biggest failure I've seen over the last decade is that the real estate marketing approaches that are taught, prospecting for the sake of discussion, require 40 to 50 hours of hard work every week going out to do whatever prospecting is, right? And prospecting is really difficult on its best day, knocking on doors, cold calling, mailers, going out, doing the referral system, going through your friends, right? Just constantly working. To me, that's working hard with a very small outcome. I believe in working smarter, not harder, if that makes sense to everybody. So I created a marketing approach. It is based on one very specific niche, which is distressed properties. And I'll explain why. One, it's my experience. It's simply my experience. But number two, there are more leads because people miss payments. Does that make sense to everybody? I think we'd all agree on this call that we all know someone who's not able to make their payments, be it a credit card, be it a car, be it housing. So for as long as we take money on loans and exchange that, right? That's the system we're on. There will always be people who don't make payments. And I will give that to a comparison. There are more people who don't make payments, distressed, default, pre-foreclosure, whatever terminology you want to use, than there are all the expired listings in the market, then all the canceled deals in the market, then all the probates that are in the market. Got it? It is the largest single lead source in real estate. And it's also the most hated by people in the real estate field. Today, I'm going to try to demystify that. Is that a word? And try to teach you how you can get face-to-face. If we have time today, the goal of this is to teach you the 10 things about this market that you need to be aware of. The second thing I'd like to do, if we have time, I would love to show you how I get face-to-face with homeowners with my marketing approach. And the third thing I'd like to do, if we have time as a big bonus, I'll actually show you my scripts and what we say to homeowners at the front door. Sound fair to everybody? By a show of hands, everybody's good with that? Fantastic. I appreciate it. Thanks for getting involved. You can load up your questions. I'm going to do my top 10 list and I'll stop at each one and I'll take your questions for each one. To understand who I really am and why this is a passion for me, my goal is to help 1 million homeowners, and it's to train 1,000 real estate agents and try to make a real difference in the market. In 2007 to 2010, I ran through so many live events and I spoke so many times live that I didn't ever really have a chance to feel like I was making a difference in the market. I know that I did. I know that it had an impact. I know that it's created many of the training programs that people use to this day. But what's really crucially important around this time for me is to make this about the homeowners. I think that homeowners got lost in the shuffle during the short sale period because they were just coming in so fast and furious. And that was about 3 million defaulted properties, approximately at the peak of its market, right? We maintained about 3 million people actively in foreclosure. We're going to talk about how many people it'll be this time around, and you'll see that the numbers are very similar. And in fact, because of the numbers being so similar, the reality simply is that property is going to devalue, or what we would call a crash. But I'm not here to make up your mind. I'm here to submit 10 facts to you that will help you to do it. So I'd like you to buckle up and let's talk about these 10 facts, shall we? Let me get them all up. 95% of all people suffer from the same problem, right? And that is a fear of being able to provide. We're going after a very specific individual. Many of you have an it and a why. Some of you on this call might have two its. I have one it, Her name is Mackenzie. I'll introduce you to her later. I'm going to actually put my screen up. She is the reason that I try as hard as I do, right? I want to provide for my daughter. We're going to talk about distressed properties, and these are people who are in fear of losing everything and not being able to provide. That is the reason why nobody wants to work with them. That is the reason why agents avoid them. That is the reason why investors avoid them. It's because of the fear and our own personal struggles, right? Just to share something personal with you. When I grew up, I was actually, and still am for the most part, a pretty shy, withdrawn person. I kind of shy away from conversations and things of that nature. I'm actually dyslexic, and it was very hard for me in school. And for the most part, I was a straight F student. So I once got an F minus minus on an exam. And if you're wondering if that has deep lasting psychological scars, let me confirm it for you. I'm still talking about a fourth grade F minus minus that I would probably kill a teacher for if they did that to my actual daughter. On top of all of that, I was bullied for a lot of my life. I was very small. I was very withdrawn. That's my personal baggage that I have to deal with, right? I worked for my father. I don't know if any of you have worked for family members, but my first job was working for my father's company. He brought me into the business. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to go to cooking school, right? So when I work with homeowners, I have to push my personal aside. I have to be comfortable with me. And I see so many agents that are not comfortable with themselves that when they see the reflection, when working with distressed owners, it's an uncomfortable state. When we are in fear, we become angry. Fear is anger and anger is fear. They don't change. I know for me to get to where I am today, I had to, own myself and be who I am and be comfortable in my own skin, not have any regrets. And I've worked really hard on it. I still meditate to this day. And I journal. I do all these things to be a better person because I work with people that have bigger problems than me. What you need to understand is everybody's got a problem. Okay. I'm sure you realize that in real estate, and I'm sure you encounter clients that are like that. But in the distressed property world, the active foreclosure property world, it's multiplied, it's amplified, and it's very difficult. But it is an incredible opportunity for all of you to be able to provide for your family, to make lots of money, to get listings. We're seeing listing turnovers from our company with our agents within a few weeks. And the first thing you need to invest in are 10 actual facts about this market, right? So we accept that they have this fear. We accept who that person is. Their stories are generally all the same. So the only question is the market going to crash? Do I have enough facts to tell all of you that will help you make a decision? So I'm going to put you guys up on the screen. So in case you have any questions during any one of these, I can answer it for you. All right. All right, here we go. I'm going to give you two that didn't quite make the list that I think will make the list here coming up shortly, I believe. Number 12 is the recession, right? So the Republicans are kind of force feeding the debt ceiling and not correcting it, which is ultimately going to lead to a massive recession on October 16th. That has huge impact. I do not believe that they're going to come to terms. I do believe that they want to bring the value of the dollar back down. That is ultimately what a recession does. It means that we have printed too much money. The value of the dollar is losing its value, right? So you have to bring it down. And that correction, that market correction, will have an impact on real estate. It's number 12. It's kind of a bonus. The 11th thing on that list is 7.5 million renters getting evicted, and it's already started. Right? What impact do millions and millions and millions of renters being evicted have on real estate? So I'll answer that question. If you're writing these down, so number 12 as your bonus would be October 16th and the possibility of, the country having its loans called due and going into a recession, a massive recession. Number 11, if you're writing it down, would be 7.5, and that's an actual estimate number of renters, right? Not actually getting evicted, right? So I'm going to tell you the impact that's currently happening. That means from a real estate point of view, for you to provide for your family, for you to get listings, 2 to 4 unit owner occupied dwellings have seen an increase in selling. Why do you think that is? Well, because they probably had renters who didn't pay. So I'll tell you what I did for some of our coaching students. I have gotten data on 2 to 4 multi-unit properties that are owner occupied. Now, we'll get into this, but the FICOs, they're not reporting delinquency on many properties yet. That's because the reporting stopped during the pandemic. But you can approach those 2 to 4 unit dwellings that are owner occupied, and they're selling. So that's kind of a takeaway for all of you on this call. I'm sure a couple of my agents, let me see if Sarah's still on the call. That's a good one, Sarah. It's a really good one, Sarah. You should enjoy that one. But that's a great angle to work if you're looking for listings. So we've seen the increase in that. There are a lot of people who agree that commercial is going to see a spike in transactions. All right, now let's get to the top 10. These are 10 facts you can Google. These are 10 facts that are for sure. And by the way, the question bar is open right in front of me. So if you guys have a question on any one of these, go ahead and type them in on the chat bar. I've included a link to homeadvocates.io /event. On that page are a couple of documents, a couple of links that there's 4 of them that matter, right? I've got some marketing pieces for you, a copy of my PowerPoint, which I'm going to show. I'm looking at it. You aren't at the moment, but my PowerPoint's on there. And then two data sources. One of them is state-by-state numbers for delinquency. And the other one is actual hard eviction dates that you can look up. And I'm providing those for you. All right, good. Plus my yesterday's coaching call and my previous webinar. This webinar will be posted there in place of the last webinar, but I try to put one of my coaching calls up there as well. So you have a couple of pieces of material to look at. Okay. All right. Number 10, write this down. The eviction moratorium is over. I'm in California. It's over tomorrow for California. It means they can physically start evicting people tomorrow. That leaves about 4 or 5 states with extended dates, but it's only in regards to physically evict, like picking them up by the shirt, throwing them out the front door with the sheriff. Okay. In regards to paperwork and processing, that has ended. It has ended for quite a while. It didn't hold up. As a side note, the lack of news that is over is astonishing to me, right? So prior to the moratorium being lifted, the news cycle in the second story slot on all of the news networks was about the eviction moratorium ending, right? And the number of people that were going to be physically evicted. So here we are, and we're already going past the dates. People are starting to actively be filed upon. People are starting to actively be thrown out of their properties, and it's not on the news. Why did it change in just 3 or 4 weeks? Anybody wonder about that? Number 9, 1.6 million people have forbearance agreements. All right, let's cover this. 1.6 million forbearance agreements. And by the way, that's an estimate. That's not a final number. That was Black Knight's number. They're the ones who compile that data. 1.6 million people who have forbearance. Write this down, please. Forbearance is default. Got it? If you took a forbearance, you defaulted on your loan. No mistake about this. If you took a forbearance agreement, you defaulted on your loan. Now you can cure your forbearance and you can cure the default by paying back the forbeared amount. Then you can talk about loan mods. Then you can talk about other options, okay, of being a normal operating loan. But 1.6 million people took forbearance agreements, which means there are 1.6 million people who are in default, on top of the 300 to 400,000 people. It's 336,490 people to be exact, prior to the pandemic being lifted. So we're looking at approximately 2 million people coming back online being in default. There are estimates from multiple sources that estimate approximately half of those forbearance agreements are going to wind up listing and selling their house. So my question to all of you is, how do you plan to go meet them? They don't answer the door, they don't answer the phone, and they don't read their mail. Just stay tuned through the next half hour. I'll show you exactly how to do it. But that's a fact. Any questions on that one? It's a fact. Number 8, 7.5 million unemployment checks have ended. 7.5 million people are unemployed that were receiving checks, and the checks ended about a week ago. How does that not have an effect on the real estate market? Anybody? There are more of them than there were people in forbearance and delinquencies. And how many of those are actually part of the 1.6? That's an actual fact. There are no more payback checks from the government. The unemployment checks have all ended. And there are still 7.5 million people who are not now or not receiving, not now or not. There are people who are not receiving money. Number 7, the interest rates are way too low. They're in an emergency state. I think they're going to change on October 16th, if you want my opinion. I think if the Republicans Party, and by the way, I'm not political, I'm not right or left. I can only tell you who's holding up policy. Right now, I believe that the Republicans feel that a recession is healthy because the value of the dollar has shrunk so much. It's causing us to overprice our houses, right? The value of the dollar has changed. And the way that they're maintaining that is by buying back bonds, by having a 0 interest rate. And in the case of real estate, the lowest single interest rate almost in real estate history. Like, it goes way back. Like, the numbers that we have cannot stay here. Unless you're on this call and you really fundamentally believe that interest rates can remain this low, then I don't know if anything else I'm going to tell you is going to work for you. You might want to go. I'm just being honest. Interest rates will go up, and that will slow, the value, which is number 6. The values are way too high. Jobs and the amount of money people make at those jobs, forget the unemployment, forget all the other things. What people make at their jobs and in the market has to be exponential to the value of for sale property. And right now, the value of properties are way out of whack, right? They're way too high, right? And people say it's supply and demand. Okay. Or is it that the interest rate is too low? Doesn't really matter. The values are too high and they need to be adjusted. And again, with the possibility of October 16th looming around the corner, and we're going to talk about this in a minute with the FICO system, with credit reporting returning back online on the 1st tomorrow, values are going to come back down. And that would be considered a crash. Okay. I don't know why people get so hung up when I say there's going to be a market crash. I think they think it's going to be short sales and some kind of fire and hell and brimstone scorched earth moment in real estate. That's not the case. This is a market correction. We overpriced, and everybody keeps telling me it's supply and demand, supply and demand, supply and demand. Okay. I guess that is certainly one aspect of it. It is supply and demand and what people will pay. And it is true. Real estate is pocket to pocket, market to market. Those in Palos Verdes are different than those in Escondido or, right. That's reality of the market. It's when public perception gets changed by it, right? So if values start to come back down and it's reported on nationally and people are thinking about selling and they get worried about it, are they going to sell if they think they're going to get less for their property? They'll want to wait out the market. People remember 2007. It's online. They remember the market crash. And once that starts to happen, that creates a panic in the market. My greatest fear from all of this is what happens when investors start liquidating property. So everybody's right. 1.5 million to 2 million properties probably won't have a significant impact in the US real estate market because of supply and demand. I agree. But that's a very short-sighted number. It's the market perception and the panic selling that happens when people think the market is starting to go down. And your 2 million then turns into 3 million and 4 million and 5 million properties on the market. And that brings the value back down. You have to look at it like a banker. What I'm saying might seem a little bankery. I'm trying to simplify as much of this as I can, but these would be the facts that I would look at my desk if I were trying to determine the value of properties. Next, rents are way too high, period. 24% above where they should be. Like, it's completely out of whack. And again, jobs don't seem to dictate what people can pay for rent. So you got 7.5 million people being evicted on a rental level. You've got rents that are way too high, and you've got landlords on 2 to 4 unit, multi-unit PUDs that are starting to liquidate their property. Like, there's a lot going on with the rental community that's going to be a problem. California is talking about letting almost anybody stick an ADU in their property on a state level to create more housing. I think this is a horrible idea. And fortunately, it will take a very long time for that to actually manifest and become part of the market. But it's not a positive thing. I think we need to wait and see what happens over the course of the next, next few days and into the course of the next year. Number 4, consumer confidence of millennials is at 66%. That it's not the right time to buy or sell. So that's your bread and butter pocket, right, people? Your bread and butter pocket has always been millennials. And the reality is they're not interested. And that bleeds off onto other people. The only people really selling right now are people who have to sell. People believe we're in a bubble. This is becoming market sentiment. It's a general market consensus amongst people in real estate. There are people who do not believe anything bad is going to happen to the real estate market. It is a classic thing that happens in real estate. Number 3, FICO reporting returns tomorrow. That's the biggest news. Starting tomorrow, we'll start to see FICO reports come out. And they will start to, for the last 18 months of the pandemic, we turned off the FICO system, period. People who defaulted on their loans, people who didn't make their payments, all of that stuff is returning starting tomorrow, the reporting system. That's a huge deal. Number 2, credit reporting and filing has increased. Yeah, it's up to now. So when I did this the last time, it was at 26%, and that's about 24 hours or 48 hours. We're up to 30% increase in reporting. So you can pull whatever numbers you want. You can go to your title or your escrow, or you can use the online system. Pull all the NODs, NOSs. If you've got money to spend, you can pull late payments. That's 30% of your market. Got it? So it's just a simplistic mathematical principle. We're only seeing 30% of the market right now, and it's increasing. And number 1, the biggest problem, the government failed to fix it. Governments failed to fix everything. They can't agree on anything. The right and the left can't agree on the right or the left, or which foot or which hand to put it on. Nobody can agree on anything. It's as simple as that. They had $46 billion. They managed to get $2 billion out. That's it. They're not going to fix it. I cannot tell you, when I started this company, how many times I was told by real estate professionals all over the country while we were out on the road, and then by homeowners directly, the government will fix it. When the news story came out that they failed to get about $44 billion of federal money into the hands of homeowners, that is when everything dramatically and ultimately changed. If there are any questions, I will answer them, but none of you have loaded up questions at all. It's pretty simple, straightforward, cool. I will now tell you guys how I get face-to-face with these homeowners without door knocking, cold calling, or mailers. I'll get you out of here in the next 15 minutes. By a show of hands, if I have your permission, I'd be happy to explain how I do it. I don't know if it's for everybody, but I'm happy to do it. And if you want, you can go. That's the thank you for those that raise your hands. I appreciate it. I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to show you how I do it with my system, and I'm happy to do it. Understand that mentors have mentors. I have 3 books that I am passionate about that have fundamentally and changed. ADU Shirley Greco is an abbreviation for basically a granny flat. Does that make sense? It's a granny flat. California is basically cleared granny flats in general. It's a very good way to explain it. There you go. Now you can see my screen. These are the 3 books that people ask me about all the time. They ask me what has fundamentally changed me, what has given me direction. There are 3 books by people I would like to call mentor and friends. First is Don Miguel Ruiz. I live and operate every single day by the 4 agreements. I would recommend for anybody in real estate or business, or any business for that matter. Learning how not to make assumptions about people is tremendous, and it's uplifting, and it's moving, and it makes my day a better place. Number 2, permission-based marketing. My mentor, a man I'd like to call mentor and friend, Seth Godin, wrote the single greatest book on turning clients into friends and friends into, lifetime commitments. It's really special, the books he's written, and he is sort of the guru of marketing traditionally from about 2000 forward. And I've modeled all my marketing on his teachings and what he has taught. And the last is The Secret. I'm a strong believer in mindset. I'm a strong believer in positive thinking. I live in a world of what I call act as if. If I go out on a date with someone, I'm not on good behavior. I'm on the same behavior I would be 6 months from that day, or a year, or after we're married. I remain in the same state no matter what. And it's really because of The Secret. I manifest and I maintain this constant state of sort of being. I know people hear The Secret and they think it's some kind of mythical. It's positive mindset. You will have good things happen to you if you stay in a congruent, positive state of mind. You will manifest wonderful things in your life. You will manifest wonderful people. I can tell you firsthand, I manifest wonderful people, wonderful relationships, wonderful situations constantly. And it's because I'm in a positive mindset. Real estate is a negative business. Running your own company is a negative business. It's very difficult. And it's important to stay in a clean mindset. Now, because you said I had permission to do it, I would love to introduce you to my daughter and my it and my why, as some people call it. Somebody on the last call called it a why. It is the reason that, like all of you, I think there's healthy fear. I have a healthy fear of not being able to provide for her. And I'm going to show you the cure for that. That will cure everything for all of you. It cures for about 1,000 real estate agents that I have in my coaching program. This is my daughter, Mackenzie, August 6, 2004. She is my it. She is my why. She is everything in my entire world. Because of her in 2010, when I became a private contractor, just like all of you, I created my own marketing approach called Monster Marketing. And it got me featured on multiple sources. It was named a bestseller. And it got me named one of the most innovative marketers in America. And I'm proud of all of those things. What's more important is I'm proud of how many people it's helped, how many connections it's made, the fact that it has had a fundamental change. I know everybody seems to think that there's a world out there where people who miss payments are okay. But the reality is those are very scared people. We call it a dignified solution, right? We're here to educate homeowners. In that education process, the number one thing that has to happen for them is selling their house. And the reason people sell with the marketing approach that I'm about to share with you is very simple. You're going in there as an advocate and as an educator. You are branding that top of mind if you want to get into deep marketing psychology on this. That's why it only takes a few weeks. And that's why it's so fundamentally different than everything else that's on the market. When you sign up for our program, and again, there's a link that I sent to everybody, and you guys can all take a look at that. Let me see the question and answer bar. Okay, cool. When you sign up with Home Advocates, you get 3 modules. One of them is an overview training module. The next is our Home Advocates community. And the next one is something we call the Hub. As I told you, I'm going to share with you marketing approaches directly from my program, the way they are taught from what we call the Hub, because it will be beneficial to all of you, and maybe it'll make a difference in life. As I said at the beginning, we give you a general overview with walkthroughs on how to do everything. We have an FAQ and Home Advocates community page, but most importantly, we have something called the Hub. The Hub is our central network that includes our direct marketing method that I'm going to show you, our face-to-face method. So as you're walking around on a daily basis, I'm going to turn you into a marketer. You don't have to tackle people. You just have to get them to ask you, what is it that you do for a living? And then our coaching calls are all archived. We have an iBuyer program. So if you take a listing for 6%, we at Home Advocates want you to make 4%, 5% of that listing if you took a 6% listing. We have a 1% fee for our company to process our buyer platform, and it is fair market. This isn't like a haircut deal like other programs. We have an investor program. I work with a lot of investors, and they need to know how to structure deals, especially with distressed properties. There is a lot of fraud right now in distressed properties, and it's all seems to be based with investors. It's because they're lying and getting deed in lieu of foreclosures or getting properties deeded over to them so that they can fix it up and sell it, and they're not making payments, and it's scummy. So I personally mentor all of our investors, and that includes our real estate agents. So if there's a deal, I want to make sure that the homeowner's taken care of. Then there's Think Like Me. My favorite books, audio, and videos. One of our agents had an accident and got laid up in bed for a serious period of time. And he asked me for recommendations. And I said, you know what? I'll just create a funnel and I will actually download the movies or upload the books. And I purchase those things and I put them in there for people to watch and view when they have spare time. I need to actually update my 2 newest books that I'm reading, which is Red Marketing and Talk Like Ted. Talk Like Ted is one of my favorite books, which I recommend for everybody. It basically teaches you an elevator pitch in 20 minutes. It's really, really helpful. We also have a complete archive of all the marketing I've ever created over the last decade, as well as all the videos that I've created from all of my live events. They are all cataloged. And of course, we have white label books. Many people like to have white label books. I know they get sold online for about $5,000. And some of the books that are here, I have watched some of my students turn around and sell them online as white label books for thousands of dollars. I'm okay with it. Those books have all been named bestsellers. And so you become a best-selling author when you join our program, actually. So let's cover a couple of these marketing approaches as I promised at the beginning. The first is what we call our face-to-face method. When you sign up with us, it is important that you are an advocate, that you are a walking, talking advocate, that you are a billboard, so that when somebody asks you, I assume everybody starts from zero, right? So you have to know your value. Your value is you are different from everyone else. If I were to ask any of you right now on the call, what do you do? The number one answer you would tell me is you would tell me you're a realtor or a real estate agent or an investor. That's it. That's what you would tell me. That's not how we teach it. When people ask us what we do, we respond differently. And we call it a sort of a talk it up method. Doesn't really matter if I'm walking around in a suit and a tie, which remarkably I do far too much. I'm probably speaking somewhere. But when I'm out with my daughter, or as I will be on Saturday, going to a color guard festival, I try not to roll my eyes too much at it. There are 3 other schools. I'm going to a color guard thing on Saturday night, and I will inevitably get asked by the parents, what is it that you do? I'm going to teach you exactly what I will do in those situations. Okay. We'll have a conversation. And again, I'm kind of shy and withdrawn. I'm not a big icebreaker guy. It's really difficult for me. I don't know where the first kiss is. I don't think I've ever actually asked anybody out on a date. I I just make kind of like these blind assumptions. Like I don't read minds and I'm fairly shy and it's really awkward for me a lot of the time. So when people engage me in a conversation, the question will come up, what do you do? I say, I fix broken real estate. That's this month's marketing message. By the way, we change that marketing message every single month. We'll have a new one on Tuesday in our coaching call, but this month's was, I fix broken real estate. And maybe some of you have seen my marketing on this topic. I also use it for promoting my webinars. I fix broken real estate, which asks the second question. What do you mean? Well, I work with distressed homeowners. What you're looking at is a template that's available on our website for you to create, to either have a home advocates card or to put your own business information on it. I've left room on it below the testimonial where you can put your cell phone number and personalize it and turn it into a personal marketing piece. And that's what this really is, right? It's a testimonial on the front. It's your information on the back. You do them. I think it's $9 to get them printed, but we have all of it set up with the cheapest printer that we've found so that you have some of these sitting around. What do? I fix broken real estate. I help people who've missed payments. And then I hand them the card and I go, do you or somebody you know, have they missed a payment or took out a loan modification or a forbearance agreement through COVID? Did your forbearance people know that they were actively in default? Doesn't matter really what their answers are. I go, you know what? Let me give you my cell phone number, because people are polite and they'll ask, do you have a card? I don't do that. What I do is I take out the card and I write my cell phone number on the front of it. And I go, look, I don't give out my cell phone number to everyone. I kind of do. But for you, I'll make an exception. If you find someone or you know someone who's a friend or a family member who missed a payment or took out a forbearance and doesn't really have a good education on the topic, here's my cell phone. Have them give me a call. What if I lose? And by the way, if you lose the card, what I'd really like you to do right now is I'd like you to take out your cell phone. And I would say this to everybody on the call. I'm looking over here like you guys are magically dying. You're actually right here. Open up a browser screen. This is exactly how I do it when I'm in the car and I'm not carrying cards, or even when I meet someone and I don't have cards. I will tell them to take out their phone and open it up and go to Google and type in home advocates. And I'm sure many of you are doing it right now. Line 1, page 1 of home advocates, line 1 of home advocates search, above county programs, above national programs, above so many different advocacy groups that I can't even begin to tell you for housing. We are lines 1, 2, and 3. And when you do that, and you go to our front page, you can scroll down. And as a member of our group, your name is on the front page with your email address. We actually will take 800 number calls from your prospects, homeowners that are interested. And when we get those, we forward them off to our agents. You become a real advocate. This is unlike any other certification program or any other designation program on the planet. We actually have the ability to take the 800 calls and send them off to you directly. And you are listed on the front page. You can use us as your entire infrastructure online. It's part of the funnel. And if we get a lead in your area, we refer it to you as well. That's one method. You could certainly replicate that. The second is what we call our 12-step program. This is the most popular by far, right? I'm going to show you directly out of our 12-step program what it looks like, and I'm going to show you directly on the back end of our system. I'm going to go through these quickly. The first is you just send us off an email to let us know you're going to go market and that you need leads. We provide leads for our clients. We like to send out about 100 leads per month. We want you to go out twice a week and put up 12 marketing pieces. It takes about an hour each time. One outing of 12 marketing pieces going out is approximately 3 phone calls and 2 appointments for 1 hour of marketing work. You need to order Amazon labels and you need to download our marketing piece. And this is what it looks like. It looks like a FedEx delivery label. I am in the business of delivering advocates to homeowners who've missed payments. All I ask you to do is go put this on their house. Follow our steps, right? You pick out 12 properties from your list. You use Root Excel. and then you prepare the marketing pieces in order. You have a driving list. Then you go out for 1 hour on Monday and Wednesday. All of our appointments go, all the calls go through a call center that we have set up. It is a national call center, right? When you peel this off, it's going to have their name and a tracking number on it, right? Their last name and their tracking number. You either put it on their garage mailbox, outside of the mailbox, or the front door. And then you just sit back and relax. We only want you to do 12 twice a week. Don't get crazy, and make sure that you have good data and that you have a good response, and then go home and wait. I personally get every single one of our leads. They get sent to us. And then once you get an appointment, step number 12, you click and we download an entire package to you. And in that package, we give you your entire first profile. I think we have about 5 minutes. I think I'll be able to show you scripts. So what you're looking at on the screen are actual leads for actual homeowners who want to have actual conversations. And I can tell you that since we've started doing this, on average, our real estate agents and our investors are getting deals within a few weeks because people are liquidating their property while equity is high. We do have coaching calls. We do 3 coaching calls per week. And I'm going to take some information directly out of our coaching calls. I'm going to give you some of our scripts just to show you how simple it is, right? So when you get your appointment, you're going to go and take a couple of documents with you. You're going to take a copy of their notice of default auction sale list pendants, a couple of copies of the 9 alternatives to foreclosure that you don't need to memorize at all. It's all on a sheet of paper. And I'm going to show you, this is exactly what you do. By the way, you're disclosing at that point that you're a real estate agent. We give you the disclosure and also an introduction letter. It's all pre-done. You can put your logos on it or use the home advocates. Hi, my name's Lee. Are you aware that you are actively in foreclosure? These are the steps to getting a listing. I'm sure that by a show of hands, and you guys all agree you can handle this, right? And you happy to hand them a copy of their notice of default, notice of sale, auction, or less pendants. I'm a homeowner advocate. I'm here to present you with your alternatives to foreclosure, and you hand them a copy. Nobody has been turned down for presenting the alternatives to foreclosure. And these are the 9 alternatives. I'm sure you can read these all off, right? 1, do nothing, pay off or refinance. Number 3, reinstate. Number 4, partial claim. By the way, on your sheet, there are explanations to each one so that you can explain it. I don't need you to memorize it. None of these really matter. Do nothing is generally what they do. Pay off or refinance, they don't have money. Reinstate, they don't have money. Partial claim, which would be a credit line, was taken away by the major lenders, if you didn't know, because they expect foreclosure activity to increase. Deed in lieu of foreclosure. Again, we explain it. Most people, once you explain to them that it's an actual foreclosure, will choose not to do it. Bankruptcy, you're not an attorney, I'm not an attorney, and I do have attorneys who do this. And that's about the only time you can have a bankruptcy. I can say this about bankruptcy. In regards to bankruptcy, people actually really do lose their house even when they file bankruptcy. Loan modification. There are no loan modifications when you have a forbearance agreement. Simple as that. If they've got a forbearance agreement, they're not getting a loan modification. Simple as that. Then there's forbearance. Those who have it and those who don't. It is a default situation. That is what you're really there to teach them. And the reason we are all here is for the sale of the property. 90% of the people you meet will wind up transferring title of their property. Let me say that again. If you go out and meet 10 people who are in default, 9 of them will transfer title of their property. Either they'll do it or the bank will do it. Does that make sense? 9 out of 10 in the current market means you meet 10 people. It is the potential for 9 listings. Got it? So the math, which is really what marketing is all about, is in your favor using this approach. Before I leave, I just have one question, homeowner. This came out of one of our live events. We have another one coming up in March, but this is out of one from about 3 or 4 years ago. I have one question before I leave. What did the bank do to you? Simple as that. And that'll get you a half hour to 1 hour conversation. Homeowners will blame the bank or the government or the pandemic. Doesn't matter. I'm going to set up my second appointment. On that second appointment, I'm going to bring them back valuable information. We have a complete archive of valuable information. Got it? It's very simple. But it's at that one that I will ask the big question. I think date due is appropriate for asking for marriage. Why not? certainly to buy a ring. So it's when you want to ask your client, what is it that you want to do? No matter what they say outside of them telling you they want to sell the house, I'm going to give you another $1 million closing line from one of our live events. I understand, and I hope that works out for you. I have one question before I leave. What's your plan B? That's what you are. You're their plan B. You're their fail safe. They will probably have already made up their mind. And it will take them a few weeks of whatever they've made up their mind about. That's what we're watching right now. A few weeks before they go, you know what? I need to discuss selling my property and getting the equity out of the walls. And that's correct. And then you just follow up just like you would any other client. And that will lead to listings. That's our hub. That's our 12-step program. That's our face-to-face approach. As I said, everybody is listed on the front page of our website. Our coaching calls, we do 3 coaching calls per week included, 9 o'clock, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And we do a one-on-one to get you guys all started. We have an iBuyer program. We have an investor program where I review and help you with all your deals. All of our systems previous to today, which were Monster Marketing and AMS systems, they're all archived and available on video and audio, and it just goes on. And of course, the white label books that I talked about. So for those of you that are interested in joining today, because I'm changing the price at the first of the month, I'm going to give you the September 30th price again. And I'm going to share that with you. Here's the link, and I'm going to show it to you on the screen in just a second. So go ahead and click on that link. There are 2 ways to join. You invest a one-time fee with no monthly fee. We make a little bit of money if you use our iBuyer or investor program, but I don't want a piece of the back end. I don't want a piece of your commission on each deal. I know I'm providing you leads. I know what everybody else does. I'm not doing this for the money. 85% of what all of us do in distressed properties is for free. 15% will pay us. I'm here to help 1 million homeowners. I make a very good living with the way we have our investment structure set up. And I don't need to gouge real estate agents the way that other people do it. Now, with that said, the price on our program is going to go up. We're 66% off because we had that whole weird moratorium thing happen. And now with the recession looming mid-October, with the debt ceiling not being raised, with credit reporting returning, with 30% of credit people in default being reported to the market, and these things becoming public, starting in October, we're going to raise our price. So the number that you have that you can click on and sign up for is going to change. It will be much, 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 much more. If you're a current student on this call and you aren't a part of this program and you want all the benefit, we do have a single price upgrade fee. You want to send me an email today, because it's the 30th, to lee@honish.io. But if you're a student, you've probably got like 5 email addresses for me, probably including my personal email address on Yahoo. Just send me an email and I will get you the upgrade link so that you don't miss out on those prices. All of our services. And I say this to anybody for whatever programs you sign up for. We do 100% guarantee. We promise to get you face-to-face or Zoom to Zoom. There could be another pandemic outbreak. Or we will refund 100% of your investment. I have been doing this program for 11 years in various names, shapes, and forms. And I have never had to pay out based on giving on the face-to-face guarantee. Normally, it's because agents don't do the work and they just need the money. And both I and my CEO, or my CEO and I, have a soft spot for those individuals. And that's why we refund money. It's a mom and pop organization. I could have a huge program. I could train more than 1,000 people. I can hire staff for days and days, but I don't want to be like everybody else. I want you to be able to get a hold of me. I want to be able to help you. I want to be able to take calls from you. I guarantee this about other programs. You're not talking to the guy at the top. You're not talking to the guy in the video. You're not. In our program, you are, and I'm happy to do it. So for those of you that sign up that are here right now, if you're going to sign up, I need you to raise your hand and let me know, because I'm going to give you 2 bonuses only for this call today. The first one is I'm going to give you a squeeze page, right? You just put it online. I'm going to give you a video to put with it. It's going to be an Ask the Banker video. And you can just put this on your social media and keep reposting it every day. You will become the author of the book, Save Me. And it's the 9 alternatives to foreclosure, and people will submit their information. Simple, simple. And the other bonus coming up in March is our Las Vegas event. I will give you 2 tickets. That's a $300 value. It's over $1,100 in bonuses. I will give you 2 tickets if you sign up today. Usually it's by the end of the webinar, or if you raise your hands and let me know, to get you into that event. Now, because we have just a quick minute here, I've gone slightly over. I'm going to show you. So this is the Home Advocates /event page. This is our last live mastermind webinar. I'm going to replace it with this one. And then below it is one of our coaching calls. There is the one-time fee when you click on it. This is all done through PayPal, right? So when you click, you're protected by PayPal. You can actually request a refund through PayPal. It's pretty simple. Just fill it out. Simple, simple. And you can go directly onto that page. But I want to talk about what's underneath. Our podcast is here, where if you want to listen to it. What's more importantly, if you want to find out more about the Home Advocates Academy page, which is different than our main page, this is where we program and house, right? When you sign up, you'll go to this page and you'll click on My Library, and there will be 3 pieces in the hub, right, that you have access to, just as I said. You will wind up on the front page of Home Advocates, just like all of our agents right here. And you will be on line 1, Google one. I'm pretty sure that you and your real estate office aren't that way. There are 2 links that I really want to tell you about that I think are valuable for everybody. The state-by-state numbers and the eviction state-by-state numbers. So the state-by-state numbers is a Chicago Tribune article that explains the number of defaulted people in each state and the programs that are available. And I think that's a valuable asset. The second is eviction state-by-state. And if you scroll down, it'll tell you COVID eviction holds or everything. As you can see, California is ending its hold today. Next is you can download the PowerPoint that I use. And the third is some marketing pieces that you can download. That's all by you clicking on the link that's there. And if you, for those of you that have raised your hand, I've noted it and I appreciate it. I will make sure that you guys get all those bonuses. And I know that I went over by about 5 or 6 minutes, but I am happy to take questions. Cool. Thanks, Marvy. I'll make sure that you get it. Is there anybody else by a show of hands that is interested in signing up? That way I make sure to get you all your bonuses. Are there any questions? Going once. Going twice. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being on the call. Appreciate it. Let me see. Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you, everybody.